So we were walking towards the bus terminal, and Brian had told me, like, he didn't really feel at that particular time in his life that he needed a vehicle. He came to the conclusion when he got into his little fender bender kind of thing, and he called the insurance company, and they said, well, unfortunately, your car's not worth fixing, so we'll just give you the money. And he took it, like I said, to live on. So I kind of wish he would have had a car, but it was okay. We managed. So this was getting to be about, I'd say around close to 9 o'clock or so, or maybe it was like 8:30, 8:39. I think the time was, and we were heading towards the transit. And I had asked him. I says, "Well, what bus do you take?" And he says, "Oh, I take the 12." And where I was living at the time, I could take the 12 or the 15. Now, today, the bus schedules, they're totally different and the routes are totally different. But I said, well, I could take the 12 with you because I really enjoyed his company and I wanted to talk a little more and hear more about him. So, as we were walking up to the transit to find out what time our bus was going to be coming, because he had to go back home to where he was living, and at that time he had two roommates, Stacy and Angela. They were a couple that were going out, and they were seeing each other for quite some time. So I guess before he had came to meet me at the mall, he tells Angela, he says, Angela, I'm going to the mall to meet this girl. So, um, anyways, as we were walking up, I noticed an ex boyfriend of mine who now is married and has a wonderful, cute little girl. She's about close to Julia's age. I'd say probably 3.5, I think. But anyways, I saw him with some other girls. So my sister Brian says, "Well, just put your arm around me or just hold my hand." So I wanted to try to make him feel kind of jealous. I don't think it worked or whatever, but he put his arm around me and we held hands, I guess. So we decided to continue on chit chatting and we went inside the terminal to wait for the bus after we found out what time it was coming. And I started asking him questions. I'm like, well, I wanted to find out, like, were you ever a nerd? He's like, oh no, where I'm from, everybody knows me. Like, I was the king of my little town. I ruled. And I was just so shocked to find out that he grew up in a little town called Bell River, but he also lived in Windsor, which is about, depending on how fast you drive from Bell River, I'd say 25-minute, 30-minute drive. Sometimes it probably could be like 35, 45-minute drive to Windsor, depending on traffic. But I'm like, well, I lived in Sarnia, and that was like an hour away, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was still kind of freaking. I was freaked out because, my dad's name was Brian, and here I'm meeting this Brian. So we chit chatted, and finally the bus came, and we got on the bus, and he said goodbye, and he went on home to get ready for work, and I went on home, and I guess when he got home, he had told Angela that he met this girl, and I found out later on that I kind of reminded him of his roommate. He thought I looked like her a little bit. But anyways, while we were getting back to when we were waiting for the bus, he had mentioned to me that he used to smoke weed, and at the time he was smoking, and he said, well, I told my roommate Angela that I've been wanting to quit, and that drew me to him even more because he said that. So after, like I said, after he went home and got ready for work, and he chit-chatted with Angela before going to work while he was making his lunch, and I went home, I didn't think nothing of it. I thought, okay, you know, I'm like, well, maybe I should give this guy a chance to see where it goes. And I guess I don't know exactly when I called or if he called me or what it was. We just made arrangements to get together on March 9th, again at the city center. And we were walking and talking, and he says, well, I have a surprise for you. He wanted me to close my eyes. So I did, and he brought me to a flower shop that is no longer at the city center anymore. So I closed my eyes, and I guess he went in and he bought a red rose. And he told me to open my eyes, and he gave me the red rose. And we went to sit on this bench. We went walking, and there was this bench. And from the bench, as you're sitting, well, the bench isn't there anymore because the mall has been going through many, many changes since I came to Brampton summer of 1993. So I've seen a lot of construction and stores there and stores gone and new stores coming and whatnot in the mall. But there was this bench, and you could see, like, if you look diagonal from the bench, you could see A&W. But A&W now is moved upstairs to the food court, not downstairs where it used to be. So we were sitting on the bench, and he says, well, would you go out with me if I asked you? And I thought, well, I guess I can give it a try and see where it goes. So we started dating. Meeting my parents was fun. I had to tell him, don't mind my dad. My dad has a little bit of, like, there's like sores or something on him. I guess it had to do with bad nerves. Like today, if you saw Dad, he's completely cleared up because he has nothing to worry about. He doesn't have a job. He's retired. Mom has gone to a better place. He's taking care of his mom, and he's living his life, and he's doing great. So I warned him about my dad, and I said, don't worry about it, And he met my parents, and just so happened that day that he came to visit, my parents were going to take us for dinner because they had won a significant amount of money on a lottery ticket. A lottery ticket that is called the Crossword. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Crossword scratch ticket. So we went out to dinner, and he got to know my parents, and I told my mom that I wasn't unsure whether I should give him a chance or not, but I did, and I'm glad that I did. Because as we were dating, he said, well, if we're together in 6 months, I'm going to put you on my benefit plan. Because I told him that I got cut off my dad's because I was over 19 and I needed to be in school to continue to be on his plan. But we just didn't bother. Even though I was in school, I just didn't bother with his. I got on Brian's plan, which was really good. So I thought I was going to be able to do this with 2 videos, but I guess you guys are going to have to hurry up and go over to video number 3 because I'm going to have to continue on.